It was December, and the holiday season was fast approaching. It was one of the busiest times for the engines of Sodor. Platforms were crowded with passengers travelling to visit family and friends, and trucks were filled with letters and parcels to be delivered right across the island. One day, Emily arrived at the big station with her morning passenger train. She could see James standing at the opposite platform, looking quite fed up.
Hello, James. You don't look very festive. Cheer up. It's Christmas.
How can I be festive? It's always at this time of year my trains are heavier, and on top of that, there is so much work, sometimes I don't know if I'm coming or going. I detest this time of year. Emily eyed James up.
You really lack the Christmas spirit, don't you, James?
James said nothing. He just huffed away. Meanwhile, Edward was at the vicarage orchard collecting some crates of apples to deliver to Wellsworth Station.
Good morning, Trevor. All ready for Christmas?
Oh, yes, indeed, Edward. The vicar says that he is expecting a big turnout at this year's Christmas church service.
Edward looked up at the sky. It was starting to change from blue to grey.
Looks like there's snow on the way,
mused Edward. Soon his trucks were loaded with crates. Edward whistled cheerfully to his old friend and puffed away. Edward was right. That night a fierce snowstorm swept across the island. The engines couldn't sleep with the howling wind outside.
I hope Trevor's all right.
Edward thought to himself. The next morning the lines were covered in thick snow. Donald and Douglas set to work clearing the tracks. Edward had a sinking feeling in his boiler as he emerged from the shed. When he reached Wellsworth Station, Edward found the vicar standing on the platform looking rather distressed.
Is everything all right, Reverend?
Asked Edward's driver.
Last night a tree fell on the church and damaged the roof. Repairs will be expensive, and I doubt the vicarage will be able to cover it. And so close to Christmas, too.
I wish there was something we could do,
Edward said to himself, as he watched the vicar walk forlornly away. All throughout his journey, Edward thought hard, but nothing came into his smoke box. When he reached Marron, he told BoCo all about it.
Never mind, Edward. Leave it to me. I'm scheduled to take an express to Barrow. I'll surely think of something on my journey.
But try as he might, BoCo couldn't think of anything either. When he arrived at Barrow, a maroon diesel hydraulic named Ian was standing at the opposite platform. He and BoCo had been good friends for years.
Hello, BoCo, old chap. You look perplexed about something.
BoCo told Ian all about what Edward said.
Perhaps you could organise a Santa special. They do it a lot on the heritage railways to raise money for charity. Perhaps if you discuss it with the Fat Controller, he might agree.
BoCo's eyes lit up.
A Santa special! Why didn't I think of that? Thank you, Ian.
When BoCo had returned to Wellsworth, the vicar and the Fat Controller were waiting for him. The big green diesel told them of Ian's idea, and were quick to agree.
A splendid idea, BoCo. I'll start making arrangements immediately.
Later, the Fat Controller had summoned some of his engines to Tidmouth Sheds.
I and the Vicar of Wellsworth have organised for a Santa special to run on Christmas Eve in order to raise money for the repairs on the church.
The engines were excited. James grinned broadly. Which of us is to be pulling the special, sir?
Edward shall take the special.
Thank you so much, sir. It will be an honour.
But sir, I'm all suited to the task. My red livery looks so nice against the snow. And after all, red is a Christmas colour.
Why would you want to take the special, James? Just a few days ago, you said you detested Christmas.
Enough! Edward will be taking the special, and my decision is final.
The Santa special was to depart from the big station and travel along the main line to Wellsworth, where a party and a Christmas supper would be held. Christmas Eve soon arrived. At the big station, Thomas shunted Edward's coaches to platform 1. Edward whistled cheerfully when he arrived.
Good evening, Thomas. Shouldn't Percy have arranged the coaches?
He's away taking the post train. Since I don't have any branch line trains this evening, I volunteered to shunt your coaches.
Soon the passengers boarded, and when the guard blew his whistle, Edward steamed dutifully out of the station.
Good luck, Edward.
Called Thomas. Once again the snow began to fall as Edward puffed along the main line. Even though the heavy snow blew into his face, he contentedly listened to the happy passengers singing Christmas carols, and the old engine couldn't help but sing along too. The Santa special soon reached Wellsworth. The passengers, along with Santa Claus, went into the station building for supper and the festivities. 2 days later, the vicar, along with the Fat Controller, came to see BoCo and Edward.
The Santa special was a complete success,
announced the Fat Controller.
Thanks to you, we have raised more than enough money for the church repairs, which shall begin first thing tomorrow. I and my congregation cannot thank you enough. And a Merry Christmas to you all.
A Merry Christmas to you too, sir.